Hello, true believers. It's been a while. Recovering from Snowmageddon here in Seattle, and it's amazing how much a little bit of snow can throw off your entire month, practically. So, sorry about that. The upshot is that I was able to grow a fantastic beard. Um, I call this snow beard. Uh, Not because it happened during the snow necessarily, but because there appears to be some discrepancy with the top of my head and the bottom of my face. So apparently my jaw is older than my brain. So good for me. Anyway, this is Vail. We're going to be doing a brief game that I played several weeks ago live at a tournament. And we'll try to pick out some things that maybe I could improve on. Of course, that's what we're always looking for. But, and then see what I did right and try to maximize that. So let's get right into it. I'm black. And this was the second time I saw this in the tournament, and I asked about it. I kind of chuckled when this happened. Of course, typically, um, for any of you beginners, typically you don't want to. It's an unusual strategy to approach on move 4. White would typically want to take the largest corner. However, I asked about this move because it was the second time I had seen it, and my opponent said that in the Go Club that I'm part of, there he thinks that there's a prejudice against the Chinese opening. In other words, people don't want to see their opponents use the Chinese opening. Now, the Chinese opening would be this, and this is a general Fuseki that most people think leads to a pretty good shape. What are you going to do with this? Because if you approach here, then black can just make a move like this, and now white's running. And as white runs, black gets territory on the left side. And plus, there's a potential for a lot of territory here as well as white runs away. So people have thought for a while that the Chinese is pretty good, and I guess the Go Club that I'm part of doesn't particularly know how to deal with it or doesn't want to see it. And so they approach here instead of allowing black to make that Fuseki. So, okay, fine, whatever. Pretty standard Joseki here. Um, Here, I think he made a mistake. As I recall, you're supposed to do this first. But nevertheless, this ends up being a pretty good position for me. I'm out. There's no way, even if he does wedge here, there's no way he can kill these 2 stones before I kill one of his other stones. So this is better for black. White goes ahead and takes the corner. I approach. He attaches underneath, and we do, for the most part, a standard Joseki, except at this point, I don't want him to get Sente. I don't want him to play. I don't want me to go here. This is the standard Joseki, right? And then him to get something over here. I just don't want that. It probably would have been okay. There's still plenty of invasion points over here. But I didn't want to do that. So I play kind of an AlphaGo move, which is, this move doesn't look like much, but what it's doing is it's giving these 3 stones more flexibility, more ways to either attack or get out or make eye shape in a way that is Sente. So white needs to respond to this move, otherwise I can cut him off. So the idea here is, no, I'm not looking to get any territory. I'm just looking for this group to settle in Sente so that I can then come back over here and block the extension that I'm worried about. White responds this way, which I think was a mistake because that allows me to push through immediately. And this, I wasn't sure which side to cut on initially. I think this turned out best for me. He probably should have just connected. Because notice he's got so many cutting points. So many cutting points. So he's got to protect them. So he does. But then I take the other. And now one more move and these stones are dead. So he's got to protect that. But then I can kill these stones. Notice I needed this move here at P7 in place first before I started this ladder, because the ladder doesn't work for me. But even if it did, I wouldn't be able to, once white comes out, this stone would be in Atari. So I can't do that. But in this case, now if he does that, I can net because I have this stone at P7. So instead he plays here. This is alive, and he's hoping to make some territory on the side here. But I'm okay with that because I've got this stone here at P7, which is going to press down on any potential territory he can get. First, I need to defend. And I'm totally okay with this. This is fine because he just doesn't have, I'm solid over here. I'm solid here. I'm already pressing down at his territory. I've got forcing moves I could play. So there's nothing that I need to worry about here as far as large amounts of territory. And I did what I wanted to do. I was able to use Sente to come over here finally after all this is settled and hop into any potential big framework that he's making on the side. I didn't want to just stand up here after he kicks, because if I did, then he could play a move that makes territory off of his wall in Sente, because now I need to defend this group and this group becomes weak. So instead of doing that, I do this peep first, which he defends against, and then I make a move here. Now it's fine that some of this is going to die. I'm totally okay with that. I just didn't want him to get the whole thing. So I attach on the top. Again, I think it probably would have been better for him to go here, and then that leaves me with a question as to which side to connect. So now I've got a Panuki. This is looking really good. I don't need to worry about this much, and I can treat this stone lightly and treat it for Aji. Aji is that leftover concern, that leftover potential that almost dead stones have. They can be used for co-threats. They can be used for all kinds of things. They can be used for, like if I just played here, right, at E6, I don't, but if I played at E6, white needs to then play at D6, otherwise it connects up. So I get this move almost for free. So things like that. That's what Achi is. I'm kind of doing the same thing he did over here. I want to make use, or over here rather, I want to make use of this wall that I have to make some territory. He sees that and he jumps in. I play a couple of moves here just to enclose this stone. I'm not terribly concerned saving C6, but I just want to lightly enclose J4. He jumps out, but unfortunately he jumps out with a 2-space extension, which can be cut. Here I had to read this out because I wanted to make sure that this wasn't going to, that he could Atari me here and I didn't need to worry about it. So this ladder obviously doesn't work if he goes this way. This ladder turns into Atari here, and you'll see how that plays out. I made this move first because I know these stones are in danger, but this is a forcing move that I can get because I need to be concerned about both sides, right? So I need to be concerned, can if this group dies or if this group dies, I need to be worried about that. If I spend this move, if I instead played something like this, then he could potentially, it's probably not how you do it, but he could potentially put more pressure on these stones down here. Uh, so he attaches, and then I come out. And I play here. And he said in retrospect that he didn't think that this worked. He didn't read out. So when I played this, I realized that I couldn't play here. I can't play here because when he plays here, it's just Atari. It's death. This was an option, but it was really slow. What happens if I go here? Well, you'll see, because it plays out exactly as I envisioned in my young, not gray bearded head. He thinks this ladder works this whole time, but he didn't see this Atari. And this Atari only works because I was able to play that K8 stone. So because of that stone, this whole thing this ladder isn't a thing. So now I'm alive there. Um, yeah, he blocks on this side, and I have to come out over here. So now these stones, something in here is going to die. But I still need to be careful about this because I don't want him to get in too many moves with this ladder connecting to, like, two dead groups kind of merging into one and putting pressure on my groups. I was looking at this and being concerned about it. But the truth is he just didn't have enough time to do anything. He plays this move. It's a peep here. He's threatening to cut this off. I do need to respond, but he's not doing it for that. He's doing it for shape purposes. He wants to have potential to make an eye here. Um, he realizes that one eye is not enough, and so he decides to try to come out. And I go ahead and take away his eye from him. This is in Sente, because if he ignores it, then I can cut him off, and something's going to die here. So he connects. So at this point, I am trying to kill this entire thing. I have two problems that I need to take care of. I need to make sure that he doesn't connect up underneath, and I need to make sure that he doesn't connect up to this group and give himself so many liberties that I can't kill it. This move, what it does is it starts to put pressure on this group here and start to separate, very lightly separate the stones here from the big string that I'm trying to attack. But even if that doesn't work, and this is why I was really happy with this move, even if that doesn't work, notice that I'm getting a bunch of territory. This wasn't territory before this move. It's starting to really look like territory now because White's going to have a hard time invading that, especially now that he's under attack. Before this move, White could potentially have maybe come out like this and pressed down on this. Now I need to go, and it's not nearly as much territory. It's still territory, but it's not as much. But with this move, I'm maximizing the potential. This is what Go is all about. Maximizing your potential, being efficient, making sure that the moves you play have multiple purposes. If you can do that, then you're going to win. So I was really happy with this move. And he responds appropriately by making sure that I can't kill this entire string. But that's okay, because now I can cap the other group. Now what's he going to do? He can't run out to this group. It's too far away. So after attempting, he tries to connect up underneath. This, however, leaves a major weakness. I think there probably was a way for him to connect up. Maybe this. It was either that or like this. I think I played this out afterwards and it didn't work out. Nevertheless, he plays here, and I exploit the major weakness. All right, guys, when you see a move like this, your eye should instantly be drawn to the center point. You should be thinking, can I separate it? Can I keep these two groups separate enough so that my opponent feels pressure? I was telling Micah the other day during a live game at the cafe that I read a book. Um, I don't have it on me right now. Otake's Secrets of Strategy. Hideo Otake was a 9-down professional back in the 50s, and he wrote a book about the secrets of strategy. And one of the things that really stuck with me, it was one of my first Go books that I read. And one of the things that stuck with me was the fact that he's big on maintaining pressure on your opponent. And of course, as a Q player, I don't always know the best moves, but I know the moves that I wouldn't want played on me. And if I feel safe enough to do them, then I do them. And I think it works out because my opponent feels nervous. If you can keep your opponent on their heels, then the balance, though, is making sure that you're safe enough to do it. And that's what I've been working on lately. Lately, I've been working on making sure I'm solid and then keeping my opponent on their heels. So defense first, always. But notice that this group here, it's got plenty of eye space. I don't need to worry that this is a wasted move. So I play the obvious move, keep him separated. He tries to connect up, but then I'm able to make a bunch of cutting points. Now, here's a mistake I could have made, because if I play here, that doesn't work, because now I have to worry about this group. And this group now has some. So what am I going to do? Like here, and then he kills this, and now there's a pretty good chance this group can connect up to this group, which is connected to this group, and so it all falls apart. So I almost just instinctively played here. I think that would have led to a much longer game, because what happens is I play this clamp. Now, this clamp means that there is no way for him to connect this group to this. There's just no way. So after that, white resigns. So pretty short game. I was very happy with it. I felt like my reading has been getting stronger, especially in this middle area. So the things that I took away from this were play solid. Don't screw up your Joseki. Like this here could have been much more uh, equal, an equal result if White had played better, I think. And over here, don't ignore a peep. He didn't ignore it, but he played in a way that was so um, it was the wrong way to play. It allowed me to push through and get all these extra moves, which allowed me to win in the middle. So play solid, respectable, simple moves. We've had other Go videos about this too. Play simple moves. Wait, be patient. Wait until your groups are solid. This is the Lee Chang-ho style, right? Lee Chang-ho was this. Look him up. He's amazing if you don't know him. He played extremely basic in the opening, very solid basic moves, and then he studied middle game and end game, and that's what we're doing. We're just trying to stay solid through the middle, and now in other videos we're studying end game in particular, because that's such an important part that nobody ever studies. So now that we're back on with some more videos, now that the snow is cleared, pay attention to the channel, keep your eyes out. We're going to be doing life and death and some end game problems and that you can join in. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's been a long time coming. And until next time, folks, Excelsior.